We have some breaking news from the United Kingdom, which is that they are going to have some major restrictions, which are going to kick in the next little while. There have been thousands of new cases per day that have been announced, and Boris Johnson has made the following announcements: that all office workers must now work from home if they can. All pubs and restaurants will be moving from table service only or takeaways, no milling about. All hospitality venues have to close at 10 p.m. on starting from Thursday. Face coverings will be mandated for all staff in retail, taxis and staff as well in hospitality, of course, unless you are eating or drinking. The number of people allowed at weddings will go from 30 down to 15. Funerals will stay at 30 people. The UK won't be able to reopen many of its large sporting events from October 1 as previously planned. Here is the UK Prime Minister.
This is the moment when we must act. If we can curb the number of daily infections and reduce the reproduction rate to 1, then we can save lives, protect the NHS and the most vulnerable, and shelter the economy from the far sterner and more costly measures that would inevitably become necessary later on. So we're acting on the principle that a stitch in time saves 9.
All right, Rita, we keep hearing about the modelling and all the rest of it, which, of course, wrong first time around, may well be the second time, but we can't deny thousands of cases. We know what happened when it was hundreds of cases a day. What do you say about what is seeming like a bit of a tightening in the UK? Boris Johnson, as late as last week, was saying no to a second lockdown.
Oh, Boris Johnson has been absolutely shambolic throughout this pandemic. Granted, he got sick himself, very sick, so you give him a little bit of a pass for I don't know, 2-month period, but really he has mishandled this. His polling is nowhere near where it was at the election. And just this week, a group of medical experts, the experts Nicholas loves so much, professors, cancer specialists, a whole bunch, wrote to him and said, including infectious diseases experts, Nicholas, well done, wrote to him and said, look at the data, look at who's getting infected, who's dying, and have a more targeted, nuanced approach instead of having these blanket lockdowns, because we're having all sorts of ugly consequences, health consequences because of them. And he's disregarded that. You look at Europe and the second wave, and then you look at Sweden. Sweden has got 1/10 of Spain's figures at the moment, 10 times more infections in Spain, which lockdowns tight first time around. Italy, France, 7 times more than Sweden. So it's interesting that the second wave is hitting these lockdown countries, but Sweden, which per capita deaths is less than the UK, isn't having that issue, and they never closed down, and looks like they've got some measure of herd immunity now, according to the experts. So it's going to be very interesting to see how long these new restrictions remain in place. It's supposed to just be for a very short period, but as we know, once you impose them, it can be difficult to lift them if the figures don't improve immediately.
Jim, forgive me for not giving you enough time tonight, but it is fun for you, the good kid, me, the bad kid, to watch Mum and Dad fight. So, Nicholas, what do you think about what's happening in the UK?
Well, look, I do agree with Rita that Boris Johnson has completely mishandled the response to this pandemic. He's been a blundering buffoon from the very beginning on this one. And now, tragically, the people of Britain are paying the price for this. I mean, they had 6,000 cases today, Paul, and according to the modelling of the epidemiologists, the mathematical models, people who, unlike Rita, don't just have an opinion about these things, but they can back it up with a professional life dedicated to the study of these things. They're saying that they're heading for 50,000.
I just told you medical experts, professors, surgeons are saying this approach is dumb. It's funny how you only listen to the experts who push your narrative. The infectious diseases experts who say lockdowns aren't the way to deal with this, you don't listen to them. They know nothing. Their qualifications and experience means nothing. Seriously, this appeal to the expert class, at least be consistent with it, because let's not pretend that the experts have a unanimous opinion on this. They are very much split, and that split is widening. And there are plenty of experts who say the lockdown strategy is not the way to deal with this virus, which is going to become endemic, and we need to learn to live with it. So please don't play these games when you know I just said that there are experts who are appealing to Boris Johnson to rethink this strategy. I'm not talking about the man on the street.
This is your fault, Paul. You're allowing this to go on.
Mate, I'm telling you, Tuesday night, ding, ding, fight night. It's the easiest chat you'll ever have on the television, mate. I promise you that.